So today, in the episode of All Things Akashic, I'm going to talk about where we can find our Akashic Records. The Akashic Records are an energetic record of every experience we've ever had on Earth. They're actually in every cell of our body. But the first place I'm going to talk about that we can retrieve them or find them is in the Hall of Records, which is on the other side of the veil in the place that we call heaven. And when I run my classes in session 1, I always take my students there on a guided visualization and take them into the big library where their Akashic record is placed in front of them in the form of a book. They meet up with a keeper of the records that's been assigned to them that can help them with their work in the Akashic records. And a lot of them get information in that way, though I do teach a different method myself. So the second place, as I said, our personal Akashic record is stored in every cell of our body. Now, the Akashic record is part of what has been called junk DNA. It is not junk. I prefer to call it non-coding. Scientists called this 98.2% of our DNA junk because in the lower vibration of the third dimension that we're now moving out of, the vibration was so low that it just could not express itself. So it looked like it did nothing. So it was called junk. The good news is that our Akashic record, our non-coding DNA is now being enabled and activated. And the energy we're moving into through the fourth and into the fifth, it's really enabling it, opening it up. And with that, it's making it much easier to connect with our Akashic record, which is actually the 8th layer out of 12. So in channelings, our Cryon channelings, Lee Carroll channels him. He has identified that there are 12 of these energetic layers, and one of them is the Akashic record. So, and these are in every single cell of our body. And that's getting easier and easier to access Akashic information as our non-coding DNA is activated as part of the ascension process. And even just being in your Akashic record when it's open will actually accelerate this process because I believe that the Akashic records are a beautiful source of fifth dimensional energy. So whenever you're in them, in your open Akashic record, you are activating this DNA as well. So around our bodies, we all have an energetic field, which I like to call the Merkaba, which stores the energy from our DNA, or the energy that we carry in our bodies, and it's a reflection and a container of that energy. So the energy field around our bodies also carries Akashic information, and is another way that we can access our Akashic records. And I quite often get students during my classes, and they come to learn how to access the Akashic records, but they've been doing it because a lot of them are physical healers, and they're accessing this information when they work with people's bodies, and they work in that, particularly in that field of energy around their body. Now, there's one other place where our personal Akashic record is stored, but I'm just going to talk about the two places that we can find our global Akash, and one of them is that band of energy around the earth called the crystalline grid, which holds the memories of everything that has happened in a certain place. So if you're living somewhere that's been very densely populated over the centuries, the energy is going to be more intense there. And it will be particularly intense if something, historically that maybe hasn't been resolved has happened in that place. And if you're a really sensitive person, you can feel this energy. So this energy around the earth, this band, the crystalline grid, holds the memories of what's happened in every single place. And in places that haven't been densely populated and still aren't, and are sort of tucked perhaps at the bottom of the world, like the country I'm from, which is New Zealand, the crystalline grid here is It's not totally pure, but it's different. It's not so much being stored in it. So the other place that we can tap into, or which is a record of our global Akash, is actually in the cetaceans, like the whales and the dolphins of the planet. And these beautiful creatures came from another star system a long time ago to help us. And one of their jobs has been to carry the planetary records, the records of planet Earth. Now, there's a new form of the Akashic Records. There's the galactic Akash, which is called the Halls of Amenti, and can be accessed on Earth at places like the Sphinx or other global power spots. Now, the Halls of Amenti, through the Halls of Amenti, we can access our Akashic record before we came to Earth. But since the 21st of December 2012, which we call the cosmic, or many call the cosmic moment, which was the moment that we sort of moved into the initial impulse, really, of the fifth dimension, all of our human experiences and memories have also been stored in these halls. And one day, we're actually not going to need our old Akashic records anymore. I mean, I love them. I don't want to give them up. But once we've transcended and worked with, the old imprints and some of the old memories of trauma and suffering and limitation, and done the healing that we need to do, and we can fully step into the full majesty and magnificence of who we really, really are as souls, there won't be such a need for that Akashic record. And like everything on the planet at this time, as we go through this ascension process and we move from the third dimension through the fourth to the fifth, everything is changing to reflect the new energy. Society, us as individuals, governments, the education system, every single thing, and the Akashic records are no exception. So these are exciting times, and that's just a little class today on where you can find the Akashic records. They're so easy to access. I teach how to do it, but many others do as well. You have to hold the intention, and there are so many rewards. It is such a beautiful place for soul expansion, for healing, and a perfect ascension tool. But I will talk about these subjects in future episodes of All Things Akashic. So thank you so much for listening to this. Till next time.